This video is made for adult collectors. Hello internet, I'm Roffy Offensive Recorder Offensive, that's my name, don't wear it out, and I love Transformers. I have so many that they're taking over my room, and since the boxes are 99% air, I've decided to open them up. Today we have the Studio Series Transformers Devastation More Than Meets the Eye Sideswipe. He's a more recent toy, and I've had my eye on him ever since he started shell forming, and I was just waiting for him to go on clearance, but guess what Target did? Once he was on clearance, every store had a different price for him. Then one day my girlfriend saw him for $11, but he was gone before I could even get my hands on him, and I thought I had missed my chance until I started to see them on shelves again, but this time he was basically back up to retail price, and not only that, the worst part was that every single one of these was horribly damaged, and I was about to let it go, but then I found one for $13 and jumped on it because that's the closest I'll ever get to the $11, and then immediately after there was one for $8, but it was so horribly scratched I was fine with mine. First thing out of the box, what really stands out to me is the way the colors pop. He brings two accessories, a silver blaster that he has in the game and his iconic shoulder cannon. So his colors are very nice. He has a bright candy apple red with a matted white and this lighter black. I can see why Target chose him for an exclusive. He's basically just Target colors. The Allspark blue on the windows is very nice with the white cell shading, and if you missed it, the taillights are orange and a very nice little detail, and there's more silver on him than I initially noticed with his headlights, feet, and the wheels. His articulations are very standard. His shoulder goes up and down and spins 360 degrees because there is a transformation joint here. He has a bicep swivel. He has a very basic elbow. He also doesn't have a wrist, but it goes in and out for transformation. His chest is one big piece, but he does have a waist twist. His hips can go up and down and spin 360 degrees, but I don't recommend doing this because the inner black joint can get misaligned, and it won't be able to go back down without holding both of the pieces separately. He has a basic knee that doesn't go 90 degrees and crashes into some kibble on the inside of the calf. He has a very basic ankle tilt and unfortunately an even simpler foot, and it broke the moment I tried to move it down. And it broke. The foot attaches into a little joint using little studs that sit in little holes, and it shaved the whole thing off. Thankfully, I went back into the foot. His transformation is easy. First, the hood of the car comes up and the torso piece goes down. Then twist the shoulders down so these holes are pointing down. Twist in the hands and bend in the elbows. Then the doors will peg into the bicep. Twist the waist around, open the shins, peg them both together. There's kibble inside of this hollow space, so when you flip the feet up, the kibble will come out. Then the legs will flip up to hide the thighs in the same space, and then it'll all close up. The vehicle mode is alright. I don't really have much to say about it. It looks fast and sleek, and the colors are very simple, being mostly just red. Also, the gaps are very apparent, and it's hard to see the molded details over the brightness of the color. I also don't like that the gray shoulders are sticking out here like the cliff jumper from '86. But why don't I have much to say about this toy? That's because this is basically just a recolor of the last one, and I didn't want that to dictate my rating and be the whole video, but I still do have to talk about it. Basically, this is the War for Cybertron Kingdom Sideswipe, and that's not good or bad. It's just a little complicated, but it all starts with Siege. This is when we first got this mold, and I have the Netflix edition deep cover. There are some issues with this mold, like the Autobot insignia being off-centered, and I really never liked this little nub he has. There's also a well-known issue of the abs that don't plug into the waist, but my deep cover doesn't suffer from this. Then we didn't get a Sideswipe in Earthrise, even though he was in the cartoon. Then came the Kingdom line, and instead of in a main release, he was part of a 2-pack in the Battle Across Time collection, locking him behind a higher price, forcing you to get this other guy we don't care about. But what did they change with Earth Mode Sideswipe? The Kingdom mold fixes old issues but causes some new ones. For example, the nose of the car went from round to flat, centering the insignia and removing the nub thing. This creates a gap where the round nose sat in robot mode. To make it worse, the gap lights up because the Kingdom mold has a clear plastic roof painted red. People say the torso issue is fixed here, but I think it's exactly the same. Even when it's pushed down, it lifts with no resistance and fails even worse to the smack test. And this next change bothers me the most. With the Earth mode, the kibble from the trunk is bigger now, which means it limits the range of the legs, causing the Earth mode to lose clearance, and sometimes when I'm posing it, it opens the shin panel. As for the colors, the changes aren't that big. Mostly it's with the black. We lose the silver battle damage and gain the crisp white. We also gain gain smaller details like the triangle and forehead along with the colors of the blaster. And speaking of the blaster, there are reports of cracking because of the new layer of paint. And I think that's everything as far as Kingdom goes. So now let's rate this figure. Remember how I said I didn't want him being the Kingdom mold to define the rating? Well, seeing as he's a 2021 toy in 2025, I still need to account for that in the rating. First, they couldn't be bothered to fix anything. The gaps and pegs still being trash 4 years later costs them 1 point for laziness. Next, them not even trying to fix the leg issue just feels like they don't care and swept the problem under the rug, costing them another point, and I didn't group this in with the last one for a reason I'll talk about later. And continuing to paint the accessories instead of just changing the color of the plastic also feels like they're just totally ignoring a solvable problem that could potentially save them some money by skipping the painting altogether. And I know they know this and they just don't care about the longevity of the toy, costing them 2 points because they've had so much time to fix this. I think that wraps up the Kingdom part of the rating. Now it's time for the issues this has on its own. First, I'm upset they didn't even try to update him. It's been 4 years and we're currently living in the age of the primes where modern articulation just falls from the sky, and imagine the aura this figure could have had debuting as the Target exclusive and then getting a normal release for the 86 later. And I know he wasn't in the movie, but they could have done a concept edition because he was actually planned to be in it. And to finish making my point, they did make an updated version of him anyways, in the same way they did Kingdom with Red Alert first. The newly revealed Studio Series 84 is going to be him first, even though Sideswipe debuted first in the animated series. And this guy seems to fix everything. In robot mode, the fixes are: the arms will connect behind the wheels to swing up and out, with the doors being on the forearms to solve that differently colored shoulder panel. The torso piece looks like it won't be dropping down, but one whole piece with the pelvis. That long calf piece causing the inner leg kibble issue looks like it's been reduced, so hopefully that still won't be something that happens. Finally and thankfully, he has new feet. I'm so happy about this because I'm still upset that mine broke from having such a flimsy and primitive design. He even fixes the biggest issue that's been staring at us right in the face. The whole vehicle mode is wrong. That is not what he looks like in the game. In the game, his nose is more thicker, the trunk area isn't as detailed, and he actually has the fin he's always had in every other toy. Another thing I wanted to point out is that the Legacy Armada Wheeljack came out the same year in February of 2025, and the More Than Meets the Eye Sideswipe came out 3 months later, and they even made the Shattered Glass Sideswipe with this mold, and they even changed the nose to be round again to hide that gap. And I don't know how I feel about that because it feels like a step backwards. But the point of that is that they could have just used the Shattered Glass Sideswipe mold in regular colors for this toy. Although I do appreciate it being a way to own the Kingdom mold, I think it basically being a reissue instead of a retool of the Shattered Glass knocks it down a point. And I wasn't going to take away another point for the vehicle mode, but I had forgotten that the Shattered Glass Sideswipe actually came out in 2023 for BotCon. And there was no reason they couldn't just fill that gap and repaint it for retail, because they did recolor him for the Armada Wheeljack, and I don't think that it would hurt the price too much because Wheeljack is cheaper than Sideswipe, even though Wheeljack does bring more accessories. So I think I will take a point off for this because there is an updated vehicle mode, even if it's just the nose. And as the new Red Alert shows, it wasn't too hard to give him fins. And speaking of accessories, they skimped out on us because once again they weren't faithful to his character. In the game, Sideswipe has katanas, and if you haven't noticed, those other two get them, and they could have given him smaller swords and another hollow hole punch like the one on his back, but put it on the back of his trunk to plug the swords in to make the fin. But I think this would cost him a point for lack of accessories. If the Wheeljack can have them and be cheaper, then this guy can have them and be the price they ask for, because I think giving him the sword and the rifle wouldn't be much of an issue. I think that would make him worth the price they're asking for and make him stand out amongst other Sideswipe toys because there are so many and they're basically the same price or cheaper. So my final rating is a 3 because on his own, he's alright. He's just lacking and inaccurate to the version of the character he's based off of. Just because you put new paint on him doesn't make him accurate. So he's nothing special, but he's just not terrible. But in the bigger picture, he's an overused mold with many little flaws that greedy Hasbro has been too lazy to fix until now. And I bet you've also noticed that I've barely used any pictures of the toy itself because he's an older older toy, he doesn't have any modern articulation, meaning I haven't been able to pose him, and I really don't even want to touch him. He's just not really a fun toy to play with, and the toy isn't even aimed at me. It's aimed at people who played the game, and if I did play the game, I bet I'd be even more disappointed. If they gave us a whole new Optimus and a retooled Bumblebee and put so much effort into the other Netflix molds they used, like the army builders, then why did Sideswipe get the short end of the stick? The more that meets the eye, Sideswipe just feels like a big waste of time and my money. He is mid, and I honestly might even just sell him. So I think it's finally time for me to open something I'm excited for, like the 86 Seekers. But to see that, you're gonna have to subscribe.